Coming up on News 11, Cards Against Humanity is suing Elon Musk's company SpaceX over a trespassing claim. Earth will be gaining a temporary second moon later this week. And Beetlejuice is a hit at the box office. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to News 11. I'm Julia Skiba.
And I'm Kellyanne Hender.
We have a lot of exciting stories to cover, so let's get started with your local news. The town of Sherwood in Dunkirk is in dire need of a new water line, but have run into countless issues regarding the situation. Due to crowding, the once 4-inch water pipe is now working at nearly half of its capacity. This decrease in capacity has greatly affected water pressure for Sherwood's homeowners. Replacement of the water line requires 89 easements from Sherwood's property owners, and yet only 18 easements have been received. Sherwood is attempting to obtain the remaining easements, however, that has been proving difficult as the water line replacement falls to the homeowners. The town board has been offering assistance to homeowners, however, the pipeline replacement has been proving more difficult than what was originally thought.
This past week, the city of Dunkirk rolled out a rezoning effort. At the meeting, consultants from Colliers ran the meeting at the SUNY Fredonia Incubator. Colliers is the engineering and design firm who is assisting the city with the zoning code review. City Planning Director Vince DeJoy told everyone at the meeting that the goal was to get the zoning code updated to this century. He said, quote, "It was last adopted in the last century," end quote. Colliers project manager Molly Gudoso gave some reasons as to why City Hall wants a zoning update. This list of reasonings included adjusting to new technologies, responding to changing markets, updating regulations, removing regulatory barriers, improving administrative efficiency, and addressing issues towards quality of life. Gudoso added that the company wasn't there to start over, but rather to, quote, "hear what's working and fix the rest," end quote. There will be more public meetings with dates to be announced.
The Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation, known as the NCCF, has launched its Today, Tomorrow, Together campaign. The goal of the campaign is to raise $10 million for the local community. The kickoff event was held on September 18th at the Event Center at 21 Bricks Winery during the event. Attendees had the chance to nominate their favorite local nonprofits, with 5 organizations receiving $100 in grants from the NCCF. So far, the campaign has secured over $6 million in pledges, emphasizing the community support for local initiatives. The NCCF plans to establish community funds to adapt to the region's evolving needs. Since its foundation in 1986, the foundation has invested more than $21 million to various community projects, ensuring a lasting impact for future generations. For more information on how to get involved, visit nccfoundation.org.
The Lilydale Assembly has been fighting a lawsuit with 2 Lilydale residents, Robert and Danielle Ruther, and are now trying to search their home and business. The lawsuit began when the Ruthers stopped paying their $1,000 fee in 2019, which prompted the Assembly to claim that they had breached their contract and try to remove the Ruthers from the Assembly. Lilydale has been attempting to remove the Ruthers from the community over these disputes of annual business and licensing fees since 2022. The case has since moved forward into the Supreme Court, with Supreme Court Justice Grace Hanlon's decision to allow the case to move forward instead of immediately deciding in favor of the Lilydale Assembly. Meanwhile, Lilydale has pushed the hearing back from September 16th to October 21st, as they are in need of more time to find evidence against the Ruthers. While the Ruthers argue they don't know what Lilydale is trying to find, as they have nothing that doesn't encroach on their privacy rights that Lilydale will find. The court judges will hear the Lilydale attorneys and the Ruthers on October 21st in Lilydale's appeal of Hanlon's November 2023 decision and reverse the state Supreme Court justice's decision. The Ruthers have claimed that Lilydale complaints are not authorized under state law, the state constitution, the Lilydale Assembly bylaws and rules and regulations. The Ruthers claim the actions taken by the Lilydale Assembly constitute harassment, discrimination, and abuse of process against the Ruthers. They also claim that they did not enter into the agreement on the terms that Lilydale claims they did, and they cannot prove the Ruthers violated any of their binding terms.
The cost of personal hygiene products is on the rise. but workers at the Society of St. Vincent de Paul are here to help. The group has opened a personal care closet for people in need. The closet is filled to the brim with hair products, deodorant, soap, and whatever you may need. Located in Buffalo, you can find the society open from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Main Street in Buffalo. Sherry Frank, the leader of the society, stated, quote, "You don't know how many times I've been to a home and they are sleeping on the floor," end quote. For those who wish to help out, you can donate to the society and help make Buffalo a better place.
Pastor Betty White at Walking in God's Ministry Holiness Church, the east side of Buffalo, is asking the community for help in saving her building. Her church has sat in the lovely Buffalo elements without a completed roof since March. Pastor White said she paid Andrew Bostic from FOP LLC $45,000 to fix her roof, but after she paid him, he only fixed part of the roof. She went on to say that, quote, "It's money wasted. That's basically what it is, and he scammed us," end quote. When Bostic was asked about the contracting job, he said that he did the work he was paid to do. He said, quote, "She is trying to add a back part of her roof that was not included in her job," end quote. Since nothing has been done since the building has sat in the elements for months, causing it to slowly deteriorate. The back part of the roof has begun to sink, and some of the walls inside are bowing. Pastor White says she needs $5,000 by October 4th in order to keep the city building inspector from stepping in. Anyone who would like to donate to the cause can do so under the GoFundMe title, "Support Our Church, Recover from $44,000 Scam."
Bills fans now have the opportunity to invest in the new stadium. Every year, Erie County issues bonds for infrastructure projects, and this year it's included the stadium. Fans can invest at least $5,000 to buy one of the bonds, and there is some potential to earn interest. Starting this week, Bills fans can go to buybills-bonds.com to purchase a bond.
Local artist Caitlin Crum made a generous donation to the Sisters of Charity Hospital this past Friday. After a pregnancy of her own that resulted in a long hospital stay, she knows firsthand the comfort that is necessary for patients. She donated $20,000 worth of her painting to adorn the walls. She felt in her hardest times that painting was healing, and she wanted to give back to the place and staff that healed her. She shared that she made many meaningful connections with nurses and staff members at Sisters of Charity. These staff members raised thousands to support her paintings and are the ones who encouraged her to share them if she wished.
45 days after undergoing a life-saving liver transplant, 5-year-old Ezra Tazek is going home. In May, Ezra's preschool teacher, Carissa Fisher, heard of his end-of-stage liver diagnosis. She offered to become a liver donor. After they were found to be the perfect match, they went ahead with the procedure. While Ezra still has several weeks of recovery, he is, quote, "feeling better and getting better," end quote.
This past Tuesday, Buffalo began introducing fluoride back into the water system. Buffalo Water Board Chairman O.J. McFoy states that this process will be very slow and the fluoride will be introduced over a month-long period. Buffalo's water has been without fluoride since 2015 and has finally been approved to reintroduce into the water. Buffalo originally used a powder fluoride but discovered in other countries that it was causing various health problems and affecting the safety of the water. Various Buffalo medical doctors and parents raised concern for the lack of fluoride in the water, thus prompting the switch back to liquid fluoride. And when we return, we will have your national stories. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth. When without any bread and kiss them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Cards Against Humanity is suing Elon Musk's company SpaceX over alleged trespassing in Texas. In a lawsuit filed this week, Cards Against Humanity is claiming that SpaceX has been using the games company property located in Cameron County as its own for the past 6 months. SpaceX has previously acquired land plots near the property, but has been using the games property without permission in order to store construction materials such as gravel and other debris. Cards Against Humanity acquired the property in 2017 and has since maintained in its natural state. There is even a no trespassing sign to warn people that they may be on private property. The company is asking SpaceX for $15 million in damages, which includes the loss of vegetation on the land.
A major hurricane is expected to hit the United States Gulf Coast later this week. The hurricane named Helen is predicted to begin as a series of intense thunderstorms in the Caribbean. The National Hurricane Center has deemed the future hurricane a potential tropical cyclone 9 warning. The hurricane is expected to start on Wednesday and intensify on Thursday around 8 p.m. Hurricane and storm watches have been in effect in Cuba and Mexico, and their citizens are being urged to take proper precautions. We'll have more updates regarding the hurricane next week.
The hunt is on for a bull that escaped after a rodeo event in Massachusetts. There were originally 8 bulls that had gotten loose. However, 7 of them were successfully captured and are safe. According to the North Attleboro Fire Department, the bulls got loose at the Emerald Square Mall in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. Authorities say that, quote, the bulls escaped from their pens, ran through the parking lot, and jumped over a fence at the event's perimeter, end quote. Rodeo personnel were out searching for over a day trying to chase down this final bull. The Fire Department, Massachusetts Environmental Police, and New England Rodeo were all joining forces to track down this bull. Finally, Monday night, the bull was corralled and led into a trailer on a U.S. highway, but not before a thrilling chase ensued.
A boy who went missing from California in 1951, over 70 years ago, was found alive on the East Coast. Luis Albino was abducted from a park in Oakland, California when he was just 6 years old. He was located through an online ancestry test, archived images, and help of authorities. His 63-year-old niece, Aldia, led the search and reunited him with his family and brother. Luis was lured from that park over 70 years ago by a woman promising him candy. Instead, she kidnapped him and put him on a flight to the East Coast, where he lived with a couple who raised him as their own. He went on to be a firefighter and serve in the Marine Corps in Vietnam. Aldia took an online DNA test, not expecting to find anything out of the ordinary, until she had a 22% DNA match with someone she didn't know. She found old newspaper articles about his kidnapping, and a missing persons investigation was opened. The investigation for his kidnapping is still open, and Luis is now in California catching up with his long-lost family.
This past Friday, HP Hood LLC recalled its lactate milk due to a possible allergen not listed. The announcement was made on the Food and Drug Administration's website that, quote, routine maintenance revealed 5 of their products to contain traces of almond, a common tree nut allergen not listed on the labels. There has not been any reported illnesses related to the almond contamination, but the FDA does require labeling for allergens like tree nuts, so the products had to be recalled. The states affected in recall include Colorado, Georgia, New York, and more. The potentially contaminated containers include Lactate's whole milk, 2% milk, 1% milk, fat-free, and 2% calcium-enriched milk, all with expiration dates ranging from November 22nd to December 5th. Consumers who are affected by the purchase can return their products to a point of sale for a full refund or exchange. They can also call Hood Consumer Affairs at 800-242-2423.
Rainbow, a 2-year-old Siamese cat, traveled more than 900 miles back home after 2 months. Owners Suzanne and Benny Aguiano took a trip with Rainbow to visit Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming when he wandered off. On June 4th, the couple noticed he was missing on the first day of their trip to Fishing Bridge RV Park. The cat ran into the forest after getting scared, and Benny and Suzanne spent days in the forest looking for him unsuccessfully. 61 days after he had been missing, the couple received a notification about a cat being located with Rainbow's identification number. He was found in Roseville, California, just 190 miles from his home. Suzanne said, quote, "We are ecstatic to have him back," end quote. And when we return, Jenna Polito joins us for the first time with our sports update, and we'll have your first look at weather. We'll be right back.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
We are now joined by Jenna, who will be giving us our weekly sports update. What's going on in sports, Jenna?
Thanks, Jules. This past Thursday, the Fredonia women's soccer team suffered a tough loss against SUNY Plattsburgh, losing 0-1. The Blue Devils had a few good shots on the net, but ultimately couldn't score a goal. Goalie Abby, I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce it, had a total of 5 saves, and Fredonia State now drops to a 4-4 record for this season. They look to get back on track when they travel to Canton on Saturday. The Fredonia women's volleyball team took on their opponent of the Geneseo Knights at their home opener last night. The Devils looked good after their first set, but ultimately fell 3-1 to the Knights. Kylie O'Brien led Fredonia with 10 kills, and Erin Callahan added an additional 7 kills. After securing the first set, Fredonia lost the second set after a back and forth between the two. Geneseo took control of both the third and the fourth sets, not without a fight though. The Devils scored 5 straight in the final set to make things interesting, but ultimately couldn't secure a win. Their next game is scheduled for this Saturday. Tuesday night was a busy night for Fredonia sports, as the women's tennis team also had a match that night. The tennis team fell 4-3 at Penn State. Bernie Jen, Sierra Allen, and Sophie Olsen each won their singles match, and Jen earned the doubles point by winning 2 of the 3 matches. Allen and Olsen were the only doubles winners with a score of 6-3. And moving towards Buffalo sports, the Buffalo Bills secure another win this past Monday night against the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. Lancaster native linebacker Joe Anderson made his NFL debut, which was an exciting night for Buffalonians. Not only was it an exciting night for the hometown kid, but Keon Coleman and Ray Davis both scored their first career touchdowns, and DeMar Hamlin caught his first interception. Other touchdowns were scored by Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, and Ty Johnson. The Bills won this game 47-10 and look to take on the Ravens in Baltimore this Sunday.
So, speaking about the Bills, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our new Bills Stadium going on here. So,
yeah, before the story, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, so if you heard our story earlier on, I guess you can invest some money into the Bills Stadium, which I think is kind of interesting. You can make some interest off of it.
Yeah, it sounds like
it's very cool. And I feel like for someone who's a really big Bills fan, like that's cool to
It's
have a little
definitely
bit
a
of
good opportunity, and I
ownership
mean,
there. Yeah.
I feel like it's also gonna pay off too.
Yeah, definitely, because people are very loyal to the Buffalo Bills, so I feel like that's gonna be an awesome thing.
That and
to
the
do.
popularity of the Bills, and just they're not gonna have any problem finding people to buy those bonds.
Not at all. Well, anyway, we now have Kellyanne for our weather forecast. What do you have for us, Kellyanne?
Thank you, guys. I'm just moving all over the board today. Feel like doing weather, feel like anchoring. I'm going to do both. So, moving into our weather. Today we saw that fall weather kicked in as we had quite the rainy day with thunderstorms. We will see the rain keep up but hopefully slow down with only a 70% chance of rain, as we will see it cool down as well with a low of 64 degrees. Thursday is going to be a much sunnier day with partly cloudy skies and only a slight chance of rain. It will feel pretty warm throughout the day with a high of 73, but it will cool down significantly with a low of 56 degrees. Stay tuned for your weekend weather. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Kellyanne. And when we return, we will have your international headlines. We'll be right back.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. 'Cause when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other
on a deeper level. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
And I'm back at the desk. Starting on September 29th, Earth will gain another moon. Scientists have discovered an asteroid will start orbiting our planet for a short time. The asteroid has since been named 2024 PT5 and is roughly 33 feet long. Because of its size, it will not be visible to the naked eye, unfortunately. Occurrences like this are rare, as the next time this will happen will be 31 years in the future. This mini-moon will remain for an estimated 57 days, meaning it will leave our orbit on November 25th.
A zoo in Finland will have to return 2 of their giant pandas back to China after not being able to afford the upkeep. These pandas, named Lumi and Prai, are being returned more than 8 years ahead of time. They were brought to Finland in 2018 after the Chinese leader at the time visited Finland and signed a joint agreement on protecting the animals. Since 1949, the People's Republic of China has sent pandas to foreign zoos with the intention of strengthening trading ties and creating better international image. This agreement was supposed to last for 15 years. However, the pandas are getting sent back after only about 7 years in Finland. The zoo had invested over 8 million euros, or about $9 million US, into the facility where the pandas live, along with being faced with an annual 1.5 million euro cost for their upkeep. The zoo was hoping the pandas would draw in more visitors, but last year debts have been accumulating due to the pandemic and rising inflation. Despite efforts from the Chinese to help aid the zoo, the 2 countries were forced to end the joint agreement in a friendly manner, and the pandas will be returning back to China.
Israel has been launching attacks against Hezbollah, a primary Lebanese political and military group. Israel has been coordinating the planting of explosive devices in pagers and walkie-talkies worn by Hezbollah members. These attacks have also injured thousands and killed dozens of innocent civilians. For this reason, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah has said that these attacks, quote, crossed all the red lines, end quote. Just this morning, in retaliation, Lebanon launched a missile towards Tel Aviv, Israel's economic center. Israeli jets have been dropping flares and launching a barrage of strikes over Beirut. Hezbollah has been targeting military bases in northern Israel. The Israeli attacks have escalated in southern Lebanon, displacing nearly 500,000 people and killing more than 570. It is unclear whether Israel has a plan for ground invasion at this time, but they have signaled that they are ready for war. There will be an emergency UN Security Council meeting tonight at the request of France. And after the break, a look at Olivia Munn and John Mulaney's family, Chappell Roan's rise to stardom, and the long-awaited Beetlejuice sequel. We'll be right back.
When you think of the local lowdown, what do you think of?
Well, when I think of the local lowdown, it's the live music that we have played in the studio.
It's gotta be the laughs we shared. The memorable moments during the whole thing. Oh my God, so fun.
The local lowdown for me is the people behind the scenes, the amazing team that we have making the show.
Oh, it's gotta be exploring all sorts of genres and music I've never heard before.
Oh, easy. Going out to shows and talking to artists and getting the latest news on what they have planned for the future.
It's about these artists, man. Giving them a platform to showcase what they've worked so hard on and show their music to the community. It's all about supporting the local scene of music to keep it running for years to come. And of course, the band merch. You can't forget about the merch.
This past Sunday, Olivia Munn and John Mulaney announced that they are now parents of 2 children. The couple said on Instagram that they welcomed their daughter May, June Mulaney, on September 14th. May, meaning plum in Chinese. Mulaney and Munn welcomed their first Malcolm in 2021 and just got married in July. They had their child via surrogacy as Munn was diagnosed with a form of breast cancer which required her to have a double mastectomy and a hysterectomy, meaning she could no longer carry any future children. They plan on using surrogacy to grow their future family, and Munn said, quote, "Words cannot express my gratitude that she kept our baby safe for 9 months and made her dreams come true," end quote, on their surrogate.
Chappell Roan, one of the pop's most exciting new faces, is breaking out in stardom in 2024. The Missouri-based singer has been steadily rising in the music scene for over a decade, starting as a teenager. In the last 6 months, her career has skyrocketed, finding success on platforms like TikTok, where her songs have become symbols for womanhood and queer culture. Roan gained widespread attention with performances on NPR's Tiny Desk concert. In September 2023, she released The Rise and Fall of a Midwestern Princess, 6 years after debuting her first EP as her drag Chappell Roan. The album explores themes of ambition, desire, and the queer experience, resonating with young adults and teens. It has received critical acclaim, leading to appearances at Coachella, Jimmy Fallon, and Lollapalooza. Most recently, Roan performed her song Good Luck Babe at the 2024 VMAs and won Best New Artist. She is currently the 60th most streamed artist on Spotify globally, with over 45 million monthly listeners. Roan has carved out a lane of her own, aiming to inspire future artists just like her.
The long-awaited sequel to Tim Burton's iconic 1988 horror comedy Beetlejuice finally got its chance in the spotlight with the newest film in the series, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Released on September 6th of this year, the movie collected $111 million in its first weekend in North America, one of the best September openings on record. The PG-13 sequel, which had been discussed for over a decade, brought back the original director with Tim Burton, with returning cast members including Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara, with newcomers Jenna Ortega, William Dafoe, Arthur Conti, and Monica Bellucci. The film has held the #1 spot for 2 weeks in a row, earning an additional $52 million over the weekend, bringing the domestic total to around $190 million in 10 days. With a production cost of $99 million, the film is a box office success, pleasing both fans and critics. Following a tough summer for Warner Brothers Studio at the box office, executive Michael DeLuca said, quote, "We're dancing in the hallways with smiles on our faces. There's really nothing better than for more than a hit," end quote. Thanks to the success of Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, we can hopefully expect more hits from the studio in the future. Now, I got to see Beetlejuice over the weekend, and I hadn't seen the first one, which it probably would have had a better impact if I saw the first one.
Girl, you had to watch the first one.
But it was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah.
And you saw it too. What did you
Oh
think
yeah,
of it?
I saw it in theaters. It was so good. I had a group of people talking behind me, which was the rudest thing ever. But it was still really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you were like, let me watch the second of a movie without watching the first.
I know. I didn't know if like the storyline was connected, and I just wanted
it like
to watch
was,
it.
but like they did like enough where you could like be like, oh, I
Yeah.
can watch Beetlejuice 2 without
Yeah.
watching the first one. So
It
but
was
yeah.
fun. It was really fun, and I felt in such like a Halloween fall
Oh yeah.
mood. So
I kind of wish it
I'll
came
go back and watch
out
the first
a little bit later because
know.
it's like
Yeah.
had to come out in the beginning of September. But
it still felt a little early.
if you haven't had a chance to watch it, you should go see Beetlejuice. But now we're gonna toss it to Jenna for our weekend weather forecast. How's it look, Jenna?
Thank you, Kellyanne. On Friday, we will see it warm up with a high of 76 degrees and partly cloudy skies throughout the morning. In the evening, it will cool down to 62 degrees and some overcast skies as we might have some rain on Saturday. It'll still be a warm with a high of 75, but we might see some showers later in the day with a 30% chance of rain. It will stay cool in the evenings with a low of 62 as well. And Sunday will look pretty similar to Saturday with a high of 75 and cloudy skies, but with only a 15% chance of rain. We will stay with the cool evenings and cloudy skies for a low of 60. And that's all for your weekend weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Jenna. Now, hopefully, I'm not mad about the warm weather, but
I am.
I'm starting to get ready for fall, I think. But
I've
that's
been
okay.
ready.
It's okay. As long as we've got sunny skies, I'm okay with that. So that does it for News 11. Thank you to our behind-the-scenes crew, and we will be back next week.
And as always, thank you to everyone watching at home. Have a great night.